Hotbed for diva-like behavior, ESPN actually values teamwork and hates when the children are publicly fighting with each other.
We shouldn't do this on TV, and so
Whenever you start with the "we shouldn't do this on TV," that means that you know what you're about to do is either about to be really condescending or really disrespectful and should not be done on TV. So you can't be the most thoughtful and the smartest and keep catching yourself and stuff like this. Back with another one of these little research videos. It's funny. I've been in radio or in media, I guess, since I was 21 years old. I was with Jeff and Sandra on 97.5, and it was awesome in Akron, Ohio. And so because of that, like, I've been around like a lot of like teams of media, and so like I get like interested in like sports stories that happen between like guys that are like analysts or like, just like the guys that talk about things. So this clip happened. This is Ryan Clark. And Ryan Clark, obviously, I'm not a big Ryan Clark fan. I think he does too much and does a lot of virtue signaling. And I think that he thinks he's way too smart. And when you think you're way too smart, I think you refuse to learn when you think you're way too smart. And I think that's a sign of unintelligence. But Ryan Clark has kind of been on my not so great list for a long time. And I saw this clip and I started seeing some things around it. And I was like, you know what? Like, just because this is like my little passion project, I figured maybe give this a look and kind of give my thoughts on this one, kind of a different style research video. So this is Ryan Clark to Peter Schrager, who honestly is pretty well known and well respected in the NFL world. So I'm just going to play this whole clip, then we can go from there.
Wake up this morning. Are you feeling okay? You look at A.J. Brown, which is this number one wide receiver who got one target all night, and then you got CeeDee Lamb.
But that's the
when was the one target?
That's the target.
But
though.
I'm saying
when was the one target?
I'm saying you could have it both ways.
54 seconds left in the game on 2nd and 11. It was the one target. He runs the out route.
You wake up this morning saying
A.J.
Brown had a better day than CeeDee Lamb.
But you know what you wake up saying though? A.J. Brown's team is 1-0.
Of course,
right? Like that's what.
Such a funny thing because like obviously like with receivers. Being like winning the game like has never stopped receivers from like having diva moments, and so like Ryan Clark saying that I think kind of was a little funny. I don't know, just want to start there, but yeah, I'm not to pick apart Ryan Clark, but that moment I think was funny, especially given like what we all know about like receivers.
I get it, but the thing is this though, and we shouldn't do this on TV, and so
whenever you start with the "we shouldn't do this on TV." That means that you know what you're about to do is either about to be really condescending or really disrespectful and should not be done on TV. So he says that, which means he gave it some thought and had some wherewithal and then chose to move ahead, as you'll see next.
You're feeling okay. You look at A.J. Brown, which is this number one wide receiver who got one target all night, and then you got CeeDee Lamb.
But that's the
when was the one target?
That's the target.
But
though.
I'm saying
when was the one target?
I'm saying you could have it both ways.
54 seconds left in the game on 2nd and 11. It was the one target. He runs the out route.
You wake up this morning saying A.J. Brown had a better day than CeeDee Lamb.
Also, like for some pros, they do a lot of talking over each other. It makes it kind of tricky. I mean, shit. I guess I run into Zach every now and again.
You know what you wake up saying though? A.J. Brown's team is 1-0.
Of course.
We're good. We're still all good. We're within the rules of like, don't embarrass me on TV because we're all a team when we're up here, even though we do debate.
Right, like that's what
I get it.
But the thing is this though, and we shouldn't do this on TV, and so I apologize if people think this is rude.
I apologize if people think. Not a real apology.
That's the non-player.
Oh, stop. That's no. That CeeDee Lamb is.
Let me tell you why. I'm not saying.
I'm not looking at fantasy football, Ryan. I'm not. Don't belittle me like that. I could come in and say, as 3 ex-players are saying one thing, and give an alternative perspective that maybe CeeDee Lamb did play well. And
Peter, what I need for you to do is not get mad and let me finish for one.
Okay, go on.
It wasn't about you. It was going to be about me.
Okay.
What an insane thing, because to say that, you could also say maybe it's the player in me is how we could have started it instead of discrediting Peter, who's done really great journalism, really great work for I think 15, 20 years. He's been around for a long time, at least as long as I can remember. So that happened. And then this article from Front Office Sports came out. And I didn't read this. I saw the clip and then saw this and was like, all right, let me bookmark this for the folder and I'll just do this for a video. And it's Ryan, the title of it is Ryan Clark could be on thin ice at ESPN after a second public apology since May. ESPN's Ryan Clark is becoming the worldwide leader in apologies. Bad blood from the viral on-air dispute on Friday between Clark and Peter Schrager spilled off the air and then led to an uncomfortable confrontation on the set of Get Up. Wait, so, okay, this reads like, okay, whatever. While there don't appear to be any immediate repercussions, the incident might not be over for Clark, who publicly apologized to Schrager on X on Friday. It was the second public apology Clark has had to make about his commentary since May. The Schrager moment happened on Get Up on Friday as Mike Greenberg was discussing the Cowboys' 24-20 loss to the Eagles with analysts Clark, Dan Orlovsky, and Teddy Bruschi. Shout out Patriots. During the debate over whether Cowboys receiver CeeDee Lamb dropped passes were to blame for the Cowboys' loss, Clark big-footed Schrager on national television. Are you saying A.J. Brown had a better day than CeeDee Lamb? Schrager asked Orlovsky. And Clark, a 13-year NFL veteran, a Super Bowl champion. We shouldn't do this on TV, so I apologize if people think it's rude. That's the non-player in you. Jesus. Schrager, an acclaimed NFL journalist hired by ESPN in April. So he just got there. And really highly respected in the industry. Someone that I got sent some of his stuff when I was working and studying while thought I was going to be a mainstream guy. Since then, I'm obviously not mainstream. After a decade on NFL Network's Good Morning Football, appeared to be, bristle to the insult. Oh, stop, Ryan. Don't belittle me like that. I could come in and say as 3X players are saying one thing and give an alternative perspective. Now, keep in mind, Schrager has been on NFL Network forever. So he's used to being around former players. Mike Greenberg appeared to make a cut signal with his hands, but Clark plowed on, telling Schrager, what I need for you to do is not get mad and let me finish for once. Jeez. The tense moment on the normally lighthearted show went viral on social media while live tweeting the Friday Chiefs-Chargers game. Clark apologized to Schrager in the wording of his mea culpa. He appeared to confirm their interaction continued off the air. Today I had an interaction with my colleague. So doing it during the game is fucking crazy. Today I had an interaction with my colleague Peter Schrager on both on and off the air that I regret. I've apologized to Peter and taken accountability with the ESPN leadership. I value working with Peter and look forward to this season. My focus will remain on professionalism, teamwork, and being a better teammate moving forward. Yeah, horrible teammate, and I'm sure ESPN bosses were upset because them getting Peter is a big deal. And honestly, I say this maybe not super disrespectfully, but there's a ton of guys who I think could provide what Ryan Clark provides, the ex-player view, without being disrespectful and causing tears online. So just my thought. And also I have a predisposition towards Ryan Clark anyway. I think John was the former Super Bowl champion with the Steelers was ripped on social media earlier this week for saying Tom Brady nearly of every major passing record was not a generational talent. I think John Elway is generational talent. I think Pat Mahomes is generational talent. I don't think Tom Brady. I don't think Drew Brees. I don't think Peyton Manning are generational talents. I think likability and ability to process information is a talent. So I think that could make you generational. But under the normal context of generational talent, you think big arm, fast, athletic, crazy accuracy. So I guess that makes sense. No one was going to sit here and say that Tom Brady's the most talented quarterback of all time through the normal scope of things, unless you view information. But so that's not really a bad take. Previously this year, Ryan Clark apologized to Robin Griffin III's wife, Greta, for bringing her name into a beef that former teammates were having about Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, and Race. To Greta, I was out of line. I was out of bounds. I apologize. Clark sent out a video on Twitter. Clark also issued an apology to his own family for making them deal with the fallout from my stuff. Yeah, doesn't Ryan Clark, isn't his baby mom white? Baby mom. Weird search. No, she's not. I thought she was. Why did someone say that? That's a video I do not want to touch. That feels crazy. White baby mom. It sounds like he does have a white baby mom, but I don't really care. It doesn't really matter. It is a crazy. I just know he got called a hypocrite a bunch of times. Oh, here we go. Here are 4 reasons why Clark could be on thin ice with the brass in Bristol. Schrager is a key hire who was personally recruited by Magnus. Jesus. Big Magnus is the president over there at ESPN. That's crazy. The network obviously had big plans for Schrager, putting him on everything from Get Up, First Take, NFL Live, SportsCenter, and the McAfee Show right out the gate. Honestly, when you phrase it like that, if like that's a new hire, it seems like Ryan Clark was trying to show him up, maybe out of jealousy, because honestly, Schrager's like kind of getting fast track to be the face of all ESPN's NFL content. Obviously, we know Stephen A. Smith doesn't really do a lot of NFL, and Schrager's a pro's pro. ESPN put the former Good Morning Football host alongside top insider Adam Schefter on its NFL draft coverage. Schrager is slated to be sideline reporter on Monday Night Football. Yeah, they want to make him the face. They want to make him the face of ESPN football coverage. He's also expected to play a key role in covering ESPN's first Super Bowl in 2027. Bottom line, it's not a good career move for any ESPN talent to go after Schrager before he gets his feet under him with the 4 letters. Network brass hates ESPN on ESPN violence. Despite its reputation as a hotbed for diva-like behavior, ESPN actually values teamwork and hates when the children are publicly fighting with each other. It doesn't matter how big you are. They will come down on you for belittling colleagues. See former President John Skipper suspending Tony Kornheiser for part of the interruption in 2010 for 2 weeks for making personal and hurtful comments about Hannah Storm's form-fitting outfits. Or Skipper dumping Bill Simmons in 2015 for what Skipper called his repeated lack of respect of this company, and more importantly, the people who work here. ESPN had previously suspended Bill Simmons for 3 weeks, repeatedly calling NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell a liar on his podcast. Third, Clark is a repeat offender. There's only so many times you can screw up and apologize before ESPN decides your talent is not worth the headache. And then fourth, Clark's suggestion to Schrager that a non-player can't comment on the gameplay runs counter to what ESPN does across the board with a range of talent that has never played the game. If Clark really believes non-players shouldn't have an opinion on the NFL, what does that say about Greenberg, Kornheiser, Michael Wilbon, Stephen A. Smith, Mina Kimes, and other ESPN colleagues who never put on a helmet? Oh my goodness, are they not equipped to evaluate restaurant food if they've never been a chef? To use that argument in 2025 seems beneath an Emmy-winning analyst. Yeah, he's not going to make it out. Because honestly, after reading that, realizing what Schrager's been put on, this comment was either made from a place of no thoughtfulness at all, or it was made out of a place of thoughtfulness and jealousy. And I'm inclined to believe the latter, because before he said it, he said this should be done off air, but I'm going to do it here anyway to try to show you up. And how I perceived it was because I don't like the fact that you've been given the front line road to get here. And it's like, gee whiz, it's like Ryan Clark, who claims to be so incredibly thoughtful, keeps making these bad blunders, which makes me feel like the whole Ryan Clark persona is just washed. It's foolish, it's insane, it's not well thought out, and it's too easy to pick holes in, but he does present himself as the smartest in the room and the guy that is the most thoughtful. So you can't be the most thoughtful and the smartest and keep catching yourself and stuff like this. I think he'll be out at ESPN within a year. I like him. I like his. Well, I don't love him. I think his one podcast is okay, but he does too much virtue signaling for me. And to do that on national television from a guy who will be viewed as a better, microphone and a better content personality than you long term feels insane. And it feels honestly like it was done out of jealousy, which he seems to do a lot, because I think that's why he snapped on RG3 the way he did, out of jealousy. I even saw him, go after Andrew Schultz, and then Andrew Schultz asked him, well, you've had people that abused black women on your podcast before, and you never asked them about it, and yet you want to get on me for a joke I made when I'm a comedian and I make jokes about everybody. So I don't know, not a big Ryan Clark guy. Interested to see how this thing kind of files through. There's a lot of really talented black creators that I think can fill that void, that do it the right way and are actually thought out, and then also looking to learn, which I don't think Ryan Clark is when I generally listen to him. I think it's a facade a little bit. But anyway, if you like this kind of thing, obviously subscribe, whatever. I'll be back Drop a comment too, like whatever else you want to get into, I'll get into. But I thought this was fascinating. I thought this was definitely worth a go around.